And just like that, after two horrific games on the road, the Cavs came back tonight in heroic fashion to take a 3-2 series lead over the Orlando Magic. And as we do after every game, let's break down how the Cavs beat the Magic by 1 point in an epic Game 5. What's up, guys? Mikey McNuggets here. It is so much more fun and enjoyable, and I wish it wasn't 11:32 at night to come on here and talk to you guys about a Cavs game after a terrific, incredible win that had all the drama you'd want in a playoff game, as opposed to the ass kickings we saw in Orlando. What happened on Thursday and then Saturday are in the rearview mirror until Friday. We have good, genuine basketball to talk about, to break down, and enjoy over the next 48 hours before a Game 6 in which the Cleveland Cavaliers can secure a first-round playoff win over the Orlando Magic. We'll get into all the components of tonight's game. But first and foremost, I want to say this. Tonight is what playoff basketball in the NBA is about. Two teams battling back and forth, runs, adjustments, big-time players making big-time shots. Donovan Mitchell scoring 14 points in the fourth quarter. Darius Garland, aggressive DG, where you been? We've been asking for this. He comes through with 17 in the first quarter. Max Strus, who hit 3 threes in the first 4 games combined, hits 4 threes in the second half of this one. Or in the game, he had 3 in the second half, 1 in the first. This had everything. George Niang didn't get off the bench. Marcus Morris and Tristan Thompson took his minutes. This was the game we had been waiting for. A back-and-forth affair, a competitive matchup from the get-go to the very end. The Cavs come out, and we'll start with Darius Garland because I think that's the big story to take away from this game, and it ended with an Evan Mobley block that we'll also touch on. But DG, I said it on the show today. We said it in the games and the lead-up to games 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Donovan Mitchell and JB Bickerstaff and Evan Mobley have reiterated, for us to be at our best, we need Darius to be aggressive. I broke down the film on the show today. The Magic were giving DG space, saying, DG, hey, we don't think you're going to do it. We know you're capable of it, but we don't think you're going to do it. Right? Mentally, you're not there. You're not being aggressive. You're not making us pay for slow rotations or giving you space. And tonight, DG gave him 2 middle fingers, flipped the bird, and said, I'm flipping the script. 17 points in the first quarter, 3 of 3 from beyond the arc. Orlando was giving him space, and DG was making threes in their face. It was a picture-perfect start for Darius Garland in this one. His point total high, the most points he scored in any game prior to tonight, was 15. He had 17 in the first quarter alone. Now, he finished the game with 23 points, which means he only had 6 after that, but he set the tone. And I asked JB Bickerstaff after the game, I said, hey, JB, when Darius is aggressive like that, especially to start the game, especially in the first quarter, how much does that change how Orlando has to guard you? And he answered with what I thought he would say, but I always like hearing it from a coach as opposed to me just saying it because you know what? It gives some validity to what I'm seeing. It forces Orlando to adjust. It forces Orlando to stop trying to guard Darius Garland one-on-one on the perimeter. It forces them to rotate and help, and then that creates open shots for others. And that's how guys like Evan Mobley, who had a dunk in the second to last possession of the game, that was Cleveland's final bucket. That came because Darius had been aggressive all game. And instead of giving him the space to take the layup, which we showed you on the show today, the defense collapsed. He dumps it off to Evan for the dunk. It all starts with him being aggressive. Donovan Mitchell said in postgame, hey, what'd you tell Darius after this one? And it was funny. His answer, I said, and I'm being Donovan now, he goes, DG, you played a great game, but you got to shoot the ball more. Like, this was the precipice. 16 shot attempts from Darius, 3 of 5 from 3. Donovan had 23 shots. Darius had 16 and could have had 20 and could have had 22 and 23. And when Darius is being aggressive, it opens up everything else. It was interesting. Late in the game, the Magic were putting Jonathan Isaac on Darius Garland. I'm talking the last 4 or 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. Jonathan Isaac was the primary defender on Darius Garland. We're talking about one of the best perimeter defenders who's 6'10", guarding Darius Garland, which is part of the reason why his shot attempts were few and far between in the fourth. That's the level of respect Orlando had for Darius by the end of this contest. And it started with him coming out of the gates aggressive. The Cavs needed it. They needed every point in this one. They won 104-103, so every point was absolutely, utterly crucial. And outside of a bad second quarter, the Cavs offense, for the most part, was pretty damn impressive. They scored 100 points. That's the barrier we had talked about. But it all started with Darius Garland being uber aggressive in that first quarter. Donovan Mitchell had a hell of a second quarter and a hell of a fourth quarter. He had 14 points in the fourth quarter alone. We talked about, especially on Saturday, everyone needed more. Everyone needed to produce more. No one outside of Jarrett Allen, who didn't play today, and I'm going to get to that in a sec, had played up to standard. You needed more from Donovan Mitchell. And he's hobbled, guys. Seeing it up close in person, he's not 100%. He's not 60%, but he's not 100%. And Orlando, with the physicality, with their quickness on the perimeter, with Jalen Suggs and Markelle Fultz and Cole Anthony and their guards, it's a tough matchup for a guy who's 100% healthy. It's even more difficult for Donovan, who's clearly running on 1.5 tires right now. But the fact he found a way to score 14 points in the fourth quarter, get to the free throw line, make timely buckets, that is what you bring him here to do. Donovan pick and chose his spots. And there were certain occasions in this game, and it started, I took notes of this, first play of the third quarter, first play of the fourth quarter, and out of after timeout play that JB and his staff drew up. Donovan was the point guard, where they ran the off-ball screens and the off-ball set for Darius Garland, who came into the action as the aggressor. That's typically switched when Donovan's 100%. But because of his physical limitations at the moment and Darius's aggressive play to start, they switched, and it worked out with tremendous success. The Cavs scored on 2 of the 3 possessions and got a really good look on all 3. So give Donovan Mitchell credit for fighting through the injury. It doesn't excuse his poor play in games 3 and 4, and frankly in game 2 as well. But he is playing hurt. It's the playoffs. Everybody is playing hurt, but he came through tonight when it mattered most. I'll talk about Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen to end it. But we got to give some love to Max Strus real quick, guys. He had 15 points tonight. 6 of 13 from the floor. 4 of 10 from 3. I mentioned earlier, he had 3 3-point makes all series before today. He was 3 of 17 before this game. He made 4 tonight. His shooting was timely. It was clutch. There was a possession in the third quarter, maybe it was early fourth, third, somewhere in the second half, where Orlando was starting to make a run. And Max comes down and takes a charge on Paolo Banchero on a fast break. And Paolo is gigantic. I'm telling you, he's one of those guys who in person is all of 6'10", 240. Not a guy you want to take a charge from with a head of steam. Takes a charge from Paolo Banchero, comes back down the court, buries a 3 on that same possession. It's the little things that lead to winning that Max Strus contributes, even when he's not making shots. And granted, when he's not making shots, it's hard to watch. And it drives you crazy because he's here to be a shooter and he's not doing the single most important thing he's on the court to do. But he does a lot of little things. Donovan pointed out in the postgame something that I didn't even catch in the moment that Max Strus did. When Paolo hit that jump shot to make it 104-103 at essentially right before the buzzer, Strus got the rebound and tossed it to Darius Garland before the defense could even react. So they couldn't even attempt to foul. It's little heady, smart plays like that that separate good teams from great teams and great teams from champions. And it's just one little instance. He does it a lot. He's always in the right space. But Max Strus makes winning plays. He had 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, only 1 turnover. He did have 5 personal fouls. We could talk about the refs. I am not typically a these refs suck kind of guy. But tonight I thought the refs were pretty putrid. I thought the whistle was very favorable to Orlando, and the Cavs got the short end of the stick on multiple occasions. So kudos to Max for fighting through it. He played 39 minutes and 50 seconds, and he's a warrior. He's a warrior. Also, how about Marcus Morris stepping up? George Niang, we talked about it, had not been making shots. His defense had been so-so. So JB went with Marcus Morris instead. George Niang, coach's decision, DNP. Marcus Morris, 26 minutes, 4 of 9 from the floor, 2 of 5 from 3, 2 of 2 free throws, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 12 points. He was a +8 in the box score. And I would argue that his game today, and I don't even think it's arguable, was better than any game George Niang has played in this postseason. And maybe that's an indictment on JB for not going to him sooner. JB was pretty stingent and pretty sturdy with his 8-man rotation up until tonight, and then the injury to Jarrett Allen forced him to change his hand. I assume, based on the substitution rotations, that Marcus Morris was going to play over George Niang, regardless of if Jarrett Allen played or not, but it became an even earlier substitution when J.A. wasn't playing, and Morris played great. He provides a level of spacing that Allen and Mobley don't. He's just a better three-point shooter than Mobley is at this point of his career. We know Allen doesn't shoot threes. Defensively, something he did that I'm not sure you can catch on TV, but anytime Orlando cut, when Marcus Morris and Tristan Thompson did the same thing too, whenever they cut, you're not getting a free cut on them. They're giving you a forearm. They're giving you an elbow. They're making it physical. They're making you think twice about driving through not even driving through the lane, just cutting through the lane off ball. And over a course of a game, that shit adds up. And it hurts. And Marcus Morris is a big dude. Tristan Thompson, a big physical guy. And for them to just lay a little bit of a forearm into you every time you go through the paint, you start thinking twice about doing that. And then the offense gets stagnant. And then it becomes easier to defend. And it's little things like that that help the Cavs squeak out a win at home. The home team's won all 5 games now. The team is yet to win a road game. The Cavs can have a chance to close it out on the road in Orlando on Friday. Fun fact, actually, real quick before I get back to this game. I'm going to a wedding on Friday. One of my college friends is getting married. The bride and her entire family are diehard Orlando Magic fans. They're getting married up in New Hampshire, so I'm going to fly to Boston on Friday. I'll be in New Hampshire. And I'm going to be at this wedding on Friday night while Game 6 is playing. And I've already told them the game has to be on. There's going to be 50 to 100 Magic fans there, and I might get in a fight. So I'm just giving you guys the heads up on that now. So Jarrett Allen's a game-time decision, right? We talked to JB Bickerstaff before the game, and Jarrett Allen was not on the injury report up until today. He gets listed as questionable. We're all like, so what happened? JB says he took an elbow during the game 4. It may have happened earlier. They're not 100% sure what play it occurred on, but either way, Jarrett Allen, bruised rib. If it was safe enough to play, he was going to play through it. Doctor said not safe enough, so he comes out. So then JB's left with 2 choices. Do you put Tristan Thompson in or Marcus Morris into the Jarrett Allen role, or do you go smaller with Isaac Okoro, spread the floor, and try and run? He went with the Isaac Okoro route, and that was the right choice. I'm not saying it's a direct correlation. I'm not. But the Cavs scored 100 points for the first time in this series, going with the one big lineup. The Cavs took 37 threes. They took 17 last game. 37. Strus had 10 attempts. Okoro had 6. Donovan had 7. Darius had 5. LeVert had 2. Marcus Morris had 5. And Sam Merrill had 2. They were 13 of 37 from 3 for a 35% clip, just below their season average. Orlando's defense is so long, athletic, and physical. I've been saying this all series. I thought their best bet was to run, to force Orlando into these cross matchups, to force Orlando to be out of set, because once they lock into their half-court defense, they're tough to score on, especially when the refs are allowing as much contact as they are, and especially when Donovan Mitchell isn't playing at 100%. The Cavs ran today. They got into the paint. They kicked. They took the shots that were there. They took good shots instead of trying to get great shots, which is sometimes counterintuitive. But when the Cavs have been passing up good shots to attempt to get great shots in previous games, it ended up with a turnover or a bad shot. They weren't just taking the shots Orlando was allowing them to take. So kudos to the Cavs. They got out and ran. Jarrett Allen not on the court, which means Evan Mobley stepped up. 7 of 11, 13 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. The game-saving block. That block, by the way, guys, if you go back and watch, Franz Wagner gets past Evan Mobley. And for whatever reason, I really don't have a good explanation. Jason actually asked Bickerstaff about this post-game, and JB just said Franz is a good player. But for whatever reason, Franz Wagner has torched Evan Mobley in this series. If you look at the NBA tracking data, he had 24 points against Evan Mobley in 14 minutes of action, by far the most he's had on any player. And he's a good player. So Orlando runs a set to get Franz onto Evan Mobley. And Franz beats him off the dribble. Wagner gets right past him off the dribble and has a chance to finish with his left hand. And had Franz gone with his left hand, it's a much more difficult play for Evan to block him because he's reaching across his body. The way refs have been calling fouls, it may have been a foul call, but instead Franz decides to go with his right hand. He's on the left side of the basket, finishing with his right hand. He's a right-handed player. He's more confident with that hand. That's not a surprise, but because he went with his inside hand, Evan was able to recover, and that's an incredible recovery block. When Franz takes his gather step, Evan is maybe 2 steps, legitimately 2 steps behind Franz. He closes, boom, boom, and meets him at the point of attack. Franz should have went with his left hand. He should have gone left. He went right. That opened the lane for Evan to come through, block the shot, and he makes a legitimate game-saving block to save the Cavaliers season. Had Cleveland lost tonight, I have a hard time believing they could have picked up the pieces, gone to Orlando where we know the Magic play better, and won Game 6 on the road. I have a hard time believing that would have been the case. So yes, I am calling it a game-saving block, and I think it'll go down as one of the better blocks in the history of the Cleveland Cavaliers due to the importance, the timing, and the situation. You can get beat off the dribble. That's one thing to get beat off the dribble. Not all bigs have the ability to recover without fouling like Evan Mobley does. And that block on a player of Franz's caliber is just a remarkable reminder of how special Evan Mobley can be defensively. You look at this from a big picture standpoint. Just like I said on Saturday after Game 4, how everyone deserved part of the blame. How nobody outside of Jarrett Allen was free of criticism or free of blame for the performance. Tonight was a total team effort, guys. The first quarter belonged to Darius Garland. The second quarter, Donovan Mitchell scored 60% of the team's points. It wasn't a great quarter, but he certainly had a hell of a quarter. Third quarter was the Max Strus quarter. 3 threes, draws a charge. The fourth quarter was the Evan Mobley quarter. He technically had the game-winning bucket and the game-winning block. And he also got 14 points from Donovan Mitchell in the fourth. You got contributions from the bench. Marcus Morris, 12 points. LeVert, not a great LeVert game. Still need more from LeVert. It wasn't a great LeVert game. Okoro, hey, he battled. He battled. And give Paolo Banchero credit. That dude makes some tough-ass shots. Isaac battled, but he's giving up size. He's giving up height. He's giving up length to Paolo, and that's just a tough matchup for him. Paolo had another great game tonight. 14-24 for 39 points. He was 4-7 from 3, which is the killer. 8 rebounds, 4 assists. But outside of Paolo, I mean, no one really scored a ton for Orlando. Franz had 14. Wendell Carter Jr. had 7. They held Gary Harris scoreless. Jalen Suggs had 13. No one on the bench had more than 8 points. It was Paolo and nobody, which is essentially what I said I thought the Cavs should allow to happen is Paolo's going to get his if he's making tough shots. I'm surprised he hit 4 threes, but if you limit everyone else, you should be able to hold Orlando to a relatively low point total. 103 is a point total you should be able to score and beat during the NBA season, especially when you have, you're making 13 threes like the Cavs did tonight. So this was a total team effort. JB gets credit for changing up his rotation, I don't want to say inspiring, that's not the right word, but for keeping this team motivated and locked in despite the Jarrett Allen news, which obviously they found out 20 minutes before tip he wasn't going to play. Darius being aggressive out the bat changed the whole complexion of this game. The Cavs led by 10 points. By 10 points after the first quarter. And speaking of the first quarter, how about Caris LeVert? His one bucket of the game came on the steal at the end of the first quarter. He hits that little step back jump shot at the buzzer that was supposed to be an 8-point lead. Orlando just lazily inbounds the ball. All of a sudden, Caris LeVert, boom, 10-point lead. How big of a shot is that in the long run? The Cavs win by 1. Take that away. And I know it doesn't work like that. Cavs lose. So shout out to Caris LeVert. Huge. Strus stepping up big when they needed him most. Mobley started hot, finished hot. I mean, we talked after Game 4, and there were some people saying, because the only positive I said after Game 4 was, hey, they got 2 of the next 3 at home. They haven't lost at home. And people, how you being positive after this? Well, yeah, the game sucked. No one was saying it did it, but also the world wasn't falling. And as bad as games 3 and 4 were, you have to remember in a basketball series, there are ebbs and flows in all of this. I don't think anyone picked the Cavs to sweep the Magic. I picked Cavs in 6, and I'm sticking with it. And that's basketball. That's playoff basketball especially. There are ebbs and flows to it all. And as bad as games 3 and 4 were, and as right as everyone was to be like, what the hell did I just watch for 96 minutes? And why should I have any confidence in this team? The beauty of basketball is on any given night, Team B can beat Team C. Look at the NCAA tournament. That's the beauty of it. UMBC beating Virginia. You don't expect that to play 100 times. Virginia wins 99, but on that given night, UMBC was the better team. Tonight, I did think the Cavs were the better team, but just slightly. And if you want to go negative, and I'll go negative real quick, it took a heroic Donovan Mitchell fourth quarter, an Evan Mobley all-defensive performance, Darius Garland's best game in a long, long time, Max Strus's biggest output of the season, and a hell of a bench contribution from Marcus Morris Sr. to beat Orlando by 1 at home. Like all the roses, all the problems aren't solved. The Cavs still have issues. But we don't have to worry about those for at least 2 days. It was a hell of a win. I tweeted it was a gritty win, a gutsy win, a hard-fought and much-needed win for this Cleveland organization. They looked like they quit in Game 3. They looked like they quit in the second half of Game 4. There was zero quit in this team tonight. The game went back and forth. There were multiple occasions. I'll pull up my notes real quick. There were multiple occasions where Orlando tied the game, and I got worried. This is what happened in Game 3. Are the Cavs just going to fall off, teeter off? Is it over? And no, it wasn't at all. Marcus Morris hit a 3, gave him the lead. Orlando comes back. Donovan Mitchell, 3. Orlando comes back. Banchero turnaround, ties it up. Strus to Mobley for the dunk. 99-98 Cleveland. Suggs fouls Mitchell. Free throws. 1 of 2, 198. It's 198. This is the play I was talking about earlier. This was the out-of-timeout play that they drew up for DG. They do a small-to-small pick and roll. So Donovan screened for Darius to get the switch. Darius gets Suggs switched onto him instead of Isaac. He drives. The help steps up, and he dumps it off to Mobley for the dunk to make it 102-98. Then Franz goes coast to coast, scores over Mobley. Mitchell misses the pull-up. Franz has a chance to tie it at 102, and the Mobley block. Little things, all the little things add up, and it's a hell of a win for the Cavs. They didn't play great. They played a B game, and that's way better than the last 2. This team can still play better. They only shot 43% as a team, but it was enough to win. And in the playoffs, it doesn't matter how you win. It can be ugly. It can be hideous. It can be heinous. As long as you freaking win, that's all that matters. And the Cavs are now 1 win away from advancing to the semifinals of the Eastern Conference. They are 1 win away. They are 48 minutes of basketball potentially away from a second-round matchup with the Boston Celtics, who could be without Kristaps Porzingis. A team they've already beaten this season thanks to heroic Dean Wade game. A team that they have confidence playing against based on their success against Boston over the last few years. But we can't look ahead. Just like I said, it's not all over when the Cavs lost Game 4. I'm also saying this is not all roses just because you win Game 5. We could celebrate fully when the series is over, or we can cry together fully when the series is over. But during the playoffs, there are ebbs and flows to all of this, and you have to keep some semblance of level-headedness throughout the whole thing because things change on the dime. Tonight was an incredible win in front of an incredible crowd at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. An incredible crowd. The Cavs fans, we asked it on the show, showed up in troves. They were loud, they were energetic, and you could tell the team fed off them from the opening whistle to the final play. Darius Garland gave you exactly what you needed. Exactly what you needed. Now, I want to see aggressive Darius more in quarters 2, 3, and 4. I want to see that first quarter version of DG for the next 36 minutes of basketball. But if I had to pick one quarter to have it from DG, it's the first one. Donovan saved his best for last. While DG started off hot, Donovan was your closer, 14 points. Evan Mobley, what can you say? Another double-double, 14 and 13. But the game-saving block, the all MVP or all defensive caliber player we know he can be. Max Strus, 4 threes. It's about damn time, buddy. But he did all the other things he needed to help this team win. So did Isaac Okoro. So did Marcus Morris. So did Sam Merrill. So did Tristan Thompson. From top to bottom, every player, including the coaching staff, just like they deserve blame after games 3 and 4, deserve kudos for finding a way to pull it off tonight. Game 6, Friday night. Time TBD. I believe it's a TNT broadcast. Don't quote me on that. But it's going to be a hell of a ride. All right, let's get to some viewer comments real quick before I go to bed because it is late and we got a long day tomorrow. It is officially 3 minutes till midnight, so let's run through these real quick. Abdul Smith, heck of a game without our best player, Allen. Yes, it was absolutely an incredible game and crazy to be at. Joe says, it's going to give me a heart attack. This team's going to give me a heart attack. It is, yeah. I mean, that's the beauty and the downside. The beauty and the downside. Jose, really wish Dean Wade was healthy. Yeah, Dean Wade would absolutely help in this series. It is, it sucks that he's not here because he can swing the series. He can swing the series had he been healthy. Are the post-game pressures over? Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Sneed, that's all. I'm not going to read that. Not going to read that. Sarah said, heard my voice in the press conference. Thanks. Listen, you guys think I'm faking it. I stand there waiting. Trust me. Trust me. I wish it could go faster. I wish they would go faster. I don't want to be up here till midnight. Like, trust me, I'd much rather. You know how this is bad? I made a whole I made a whole thing. I forgot to even click that. That's how rushed I was to get back from the press conference to get up. Daryl says, why not double Banchero? It's a good question, Daryl. It's the situation of, do you live with long twos or do you give guys open threes? Paolo's making tough contested shots, but for the most part, they were 2-point attempts. And I think the trade-off that the Cavs are willing to make is contested twos over open threes. You send doubles, and Paolo, who led Orlando in assists this season, can beat you on the backside, find the open guy, whoever the double comes from. You're in rotation, can get caught off guard. And I just think the Cavs believe, and I'm not saying this is right, but I think the Cavs believe they are a better team and have a better chance to slow down Orlando if Paolo's taking contested twos over guys. He's a great player. Paolo played awesome tonight. Like, he's really, 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 really good, and he's capable of making those shots. But I think the reason that they're not doubling Banchero is because they'd rather him shoot long twos than get caught in rotation and give up open threes. Rob Cunningham says, do you think Morris would have still played considerable minutes if J.A. was healthy? Yes, I do. I feel like because of how quickly he put Morris in, Niang was on the bench tonight regardless. They were going to see what Morris gave him, and Niang, thank you for your contributions in the first 4 games. Tonight, we're not going with you. So I do think he was going to play Marcus Morris regardless of what happened to Jarrett Allen. He just got put into the game a lot quicker because Jarrett Allen wasn't available tonight. And hopefully he's back for game 6, because they won tonight. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. You take the win. This team's better with Jarrett Allen. This team is better with Jarrett Allen. Go tell the Magic fan at the wedding, what's up, McNuggets? Listen, it's going to be I'm not going live after that game only because I'll be at the wedding and I will probably have a couple beverages in me. But yeah, that's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. I promise you, I will make sure if the Cavs win, I get a Let's Go Cavs chant going, and we'll see what happens. DJ Deasy said Mobley's living up to the title. Unicorn? Defensively, he's a unicorn. Offensively, he is still – he's not in unicorn territory yet. He's not. Defensively, yes. Offensively, no. Ofer Jackson wants me to look at the plus-minus. The Cavs plus-minus today. Strus +2, Okoro -10, Mobley +4, Donovan Mitchell -11. Damn, Donovan was -11. Darius Garland was +9, LeVert +3, Morris +8, Sam Merrill +5, and Tristan Thompson -5. Let's see. Couple more here, and then I gotta hit the sack. I apologize. We're gonna have a whole show tomorrow. JJ says a W without J is huge. Cavs in 6. Let them know. I appreciate all you guys staying up. I wasn't sure what the turnout for a 11:30 post-game show would be, but we got over 400 people in here. And did anyone watch Bulls? If you guys watch Bulls, let me know. How was Bulls? How was Bulls post-game? Mortified Penguin. I just want to read this because that's a hysterical username. Is Suck It Magic. Daryl's right. Hit the like button. I appreciate it. And Levert. How was Levert in the plus? Yeah. He did not have a great game. He played 19 minutes. Plus minus. I'll end with this. Plus minus is not a perfect stat because if you're on the court when your team goes on one run, let's say you go on a 9-0 run while you're on the court and you have nothing to do with it. Strus hits 2 threes. Donovan gets an and one. And Orlando misses 2 shots, right? You get a +9 for that run. The rest of the game, let's say you're a net negative or a net average, your plus minus is still going to be in the positive. So it's not the perfect stat. But at the end of the day, as a hell of a win for the Cavs. I don't know how you guys felt going into the game, but when I heard Jarrett Allen wasn't playing, I was nervous. I'm not going to lie. I felt good going into the game. Then I find out Jarrett Allen's not playing, and I go, oh, shit. This could get ugly. Because Jarrett Allen's been their best player, and he's their most irreplaceable player. What he does is not replicable by anybody, not even Evan Mobley, who brings a different skill set to the table. But, yeah, what a win. What a win. And for everyone who said after game 4, fire everybody, cut everybody, I just want to remind you guys, a playoff series is a playoff series. You're going to win some games. You're going to lose some games. It's never the end of the world after one particular game unless it's the series ender. So enjoy it tonight. Enjoy the win tomorrow. Enjoy the win Thursday. And when I say tonight, I mean this morning because we have officially eclipsed the midnight barrier. Enjoy it all. Because tonight, or technically last night now, I can't believe it's so late. 8 o'clock tip should be illegal. But game 5 was a playoff game that you can legitimately build upon. Games 1 and 2, the Cavs won without playing well. Game 5, the Cavs played well, and they beat an Orlando team that also played well. And there's something to be said for that. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I'll see you on UCSS tomorrow. Until then, peace and go Cavs.